this is One Leeds. Welcome back to the latest video. This video, as always, is sponsored by Shop GNO, the Job Match Group, and Match Bingo. Let's get into it. First up, the Job Match Group. Whether you're looking for your next big gig or just browsing, the Job Match Group has niche job sites made just for you. F1, retail, security, and loads more. They're about matching the right person to the right job. Make sure you check them out if you're ready to level up your career. Then we've got Shop GNO, an exciting new e-commerce site where you can grab exclusive deals and discounts. Right now, One Leeds has an affiliate link just below where you can score a 25 quid membership for free, unlocking special rates and benefits. You can even list your own shop on there with way better rates than Amazon, eBay, and Vinted. They've got some Leeds bits and some general bits now and launching soon, plus some great prizes just for signing up. This is all powered by a massive Leeds United fan looking to make waves in the online shopping world. So check them out and support your local. And don't forget our mates at Match Bingo. They're smashing it with footy fun. You can get 5 bingo cards for the price of 4 through One Leeds, and you can even deposit just a £5 at a time to join the action. It's a big chance to win whilst having a blast with your fellow Leeds United friends. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Check the links in the description, and let's get on with the video. Hello, everybody. My name is Conor McGilligan. This is One Leeds, and this is the Room Mill. How are you doing? Hope you're all doing fantastically well. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. We're back here with another Rumour Mill. It is Wednesday, the 30th of July, and what on earth is going on in the Leeds United world, everybody? Well, we'll be breaking it down today. If you didn't quite catch the episode last night with myself and DB, make sure you check that out, everybody. It was a really worthwhile listen. We were looking at the squad depth, we're looking at the breakdown, and it is well worth it to do so, I would suggest, everybody. So make sure you do that. As I say, the video last night, a little bit of a live stream, was lovely. What I will say as well, everybody, before we get into this video, tomorrow, I believe I'm going to be recording with Benjamin Bloom for The Sportsman, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the Room Mill at 10, unfortunately, but there will be a video out at some stage, so bear with me on that one. Just Dinks, I'm going to make your day, mate. I'm going to make your day. Just Dinks, you are now a moderator. There we go, mate. I know you've messaged me before as well. Lofts, I've stuck you on as well. So every single month, if I see you in here, I found out a different way of doing it. So here we are. Morning, Connor. Hi, Andy. How's it going? Yeah, professional start. Thank goodness. I know yesterday was an absolute chaos day. Danielito says, hi, mate. Good morning. Buenos dias, Connor, mate. What's happening in your world? Hopefully a massive 1 or 2 weeks ahead. Morning, Dinks. How's it going, mate? Daniel's here. You've got the mod again, mate. It is bloody late again. Oh, don't ever say that. Don't you ever say that or you will get banned. All right? Don't ever call me a mank. Oh, my God. Jay says, morning, Connor. Great show with Brownie last night. Looking forward to seeing who you have on the Room Mill today. James in here as well. Andrew Hayes is here. Hi, mate. Daffyd, great name, mate. How's it going? Okay, yes, now Harvey. How's it going? Morning, Zach. Good eye, Connor. Hope you well. Hope you well too, mate. Morning, Jim. Morning, Paul. Hello, everybody. Okay, so what's going on then, everybody? What's going on in the rumour world then? Let's start off, shall we, with your man over here. It is Mr. James of Justinshire. Yes, James Justin today has been heavily reported with a move to Leeds United. We spoke about it a little bit the other night, and we didn't fully get into it. I didn't really explore it fully. We've got a few of those today, of which maybe, we have a rumour mill set list every single day. So you guys will ask me certain questions and I'll comment on players if I've heard about them. Of which, luckily enough, I've heard of quite a few of the ones that you guys have been speaking about, and then we will move on that. Have we got a little table there? We want done deals, not the table. There we go. That's better. So, yeah, as I say, we're going to go through the bits and bats. We're going through strikers today. We're going to be going through fullbacks. We're going to be speaking really in the discourse, debate, and discussion section. We're going to be speaking about the type of profile that Leeds are going to be going out for a left winger and why. It's not touching on Paixao as much, but I don't see how we're going to go for another left winger. That's my point of view, and we're going to get into exactly why I think that and maybe why that's going to sort of kibosh a lot of these rumours that we've got. Okay, but let's get into it, shall we? Let's get into a few of the bits. Good cover at fullback. Yeah, completely agree, mate. So James Justin, now 27 years of age. We're all very aware of Justin. He's played wide right. He's actually played wide left as well before. Has played in a back three in terms of being a wing back in a back three as well, which is obviously a nice little versatility option for Leeds United. He's played on the right-hand side of a back four. He's played on the left-hand side of a back four. Whenever we've come up against Justin, Leeds United up against Leicester, I've really liked him. I've liked his presence. I've liked his positional awareness. I've liked his dual rate. I think he's strong in the tackle. James Justin, only 27 years of age, so still a potential sell-on value for Leeds United, in my opinion. Now, the thing to look at really is his contract is up next season, obviously, so the affordability should be there for Leeds United if we're to go in for him. Obviously, the caveat here is with Isaac Schmidt, which is nothing has been fully agreed with Werder Bremen yet, where apparently he is going. Nothing has been fully agreed yet. Apparently, the purchase options are still being discussed with Leeds United and Werder Bremen. So something to bear in mind there, everybody. We know that sometimes we're trying to get fleeced for some of our players. Matteo Joseph, potentially Isaac Schmidt, so keep an eye on that one. But yeah, contract up next season. In the 24-25 seasons, he had 37 appearances, which is pretty goddamn decent in the Premier League as well. I know there's some of you in here, Kirsch and co, who do like the Premier League appearance tag. So there you go. But yeah, I think overall, look, I'm not massive on the Premier League appearance thing. You guys know it's not like the be all and end all for me. But what I would say about James Justin is I think he fits the profile of what Leeds would be looking for. I've said this multiple times and you guys are probably getting bored of me saying it, but us going for these top echelon fullbacks, Premier League proven fullbacks again, who are going to come in and be backup choice to Goodmanson and Jaden Bogle. It's just not realistic. It is just not realistic. It's never going to happen. It was never going to happen from Semedo. It was never going to happen with Kyle Walker-Peters. So you kind of look at James Justin and you think, well, if he was still in the Premier League, he might be in that bracket as well. We might be looking at Justin and going, there's no chance he's going to be coming to Leeds United as backup fullback when he's been playing at Leicester City, who, you know, still in the Premier League, and he's maybe fullback cover there, or he's even playing. Who knows? But I think he's not your sort of standard Bogle. I don't think he's your standard Goodmanson in terms of flying forward and operating as a wing back as such when it's a 4 at the back. I think when it's a 3 at the back and he's encouraged to get forward as a sort of a back 5, but the wing backs push up, I think you'd see more of an attacking option for him there. He has had his injury troubles in 21-22 season. So something to bear in mind there as well when it comes to availability and dependability. But I wouldn't right now put him as a wing back as I would Jaden Bogle, and not so much Gabby Goodmanson, but a lot more Jaden Bogle and probably Isaac Schmidt in there as well. I would say was a standardized sort of fullback right now. Good in the duels, I think good in the air, good at reading play as well. You know, you look at his interceptions, his blocks, they're up there as well. So he looks like a really decent, I think, addition for Leeds United as fullback cover. And I don't really see what we could do as a better option unless we go to the continent and find someone else and we look at that and we think, yeah, okay, that'd work. Then okay, I'm all up for that. I guess the question is, right now, is he better than Sam Byram? Justin, and I would say he is. I would say he's a better footballer than Sam Byram. I think he's better under a press. I think he's better with his weaker foot. So obviously that's seen him play on the left-hand side as well. So the versatility, I mean, we went through a lot of the positions last night when it comes to Leeds' depth. And at fullback, it is bleak. It's bleak. Currently it's weaker than last season with Isaac Schmidt on his way out. And obviously he's supposed to, evolve and get a lot better in the Premier League as well. But if Gabby Goodmanson was to get injured, Brownie was even saying it last night, Gabby Goodmanson gets injured, Jaden Bogle gets injured, or one of them, you look at Bogle's yellow card rate last season, it was pretty high. If one of them is out for a couple of games or whatever, you're then relying on Sam Byram. So it's a difficult position. You are heavily reliant on Bogle and Goodmanson staying fit and staying in form, hopefully, and that discipline rate being at a good level as well. So yeah, guys, we've got nearly 1,000 of you in the building this morning. Do us a favor, slap a like on the video and we'll get into a couple of your comments, shall we? Great target, says Dave McGrath. Can play both sides. Leeds United Comp says, morning, Connor. Hopefully some proper links today. Yep, apparently, mate. I'll be a mod, mate. Mod for others, Mark. I'm not sure if that horrendous comment about me being a Mac. I'm going to have to just, calm down. Calm down on that one. Connor, not doing the room mill tomorrow. Leeds. That always happens, mate. We're just going to sign someone, or there'll be a ridiculous rumor of which I missed. Jason says, I'm worried for Leeds now if we don't start moving. What I would say, Jace, is I wouldn't, from my end, I wouldn't get worried about it, mate. What I would say when it comes to it with Leeds United is we do need to move on these marquee signings, but I think the other clubs do as well. But I think Leeds are in a pretty strong position right now. I think we are in a strong position, but do we need to feed into those attacking roles? We do, but we're quite lucky from a Leeds United sense that especially out wide going forward, We're not sorted because I do think we need another addition there, but Leeds are in a good position. They're in a good position. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. I'll tell you what I'm going to do as well, everybody, is if I can find this EPL link, which should be pinned in our chat. We do have a EPL link. I know there's a lot of people asking about it, and of course, I now can't find it. But we have a pinned link in our Patreon. I will get it in the link in the description below after this video. If you guys do want to join an FPL league, obviously the season's kicking off very soon, I will pin it in the comment section after this video, so stick around for it. Hi, Con, off topic, but some FPL name. There we go. Quite ironically, for you and everybody, it's not be all and end all. She rode on my wheel. Thanks, George. You crass individual, George. But thanks, mate. Appreciate that. You got a giggle at me there. Morning, Connor. Would you prefer Rowe over Harrison? Yes, mate. And I'd prefer you over Harrison. 100%, mate. Lucha says, Justin is more than a good option, covering both sides. Good both attack and defense. For sure, better than Byron. Morning, Connor. Morning, all. Stephen says, so Eden Zuckerova, I wonder when he'd get a mention from Lille. We have a flight from Lille, leaving on Thursday back to Lille. Could be him, could be his agents. Yeah, he is. He's a controversial figure at this moment in time. I still don't think he's turned up for training at Lille. Very much of your Eden Hazards in terms of slalom movement. Listen, Zuckerova's a nice player. We're going to get into the not problems as such, but the issues I have maybe with some of the links that we're facing right now toward the back end of the video in comparison to our number one target. So we are going to have to touch on Paixao. I apologize, but it's not on Paixao as such. It's the excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Still not over this illness, but it is the profile of Paixao of which you would expect them to either replicate or move on and go to a player on the right-hand side. So, yeah. Late to the chat. Hi, Skip. Tanganga or Justin? Justin. James Justin. I think Justin's a really good option, mate. So, yeah, that's kind of who I'd go for there. But cheers for the donation as well, George. Appreciate it, buddy. Guys, as well, you can check out our sponsors of the video, you mad sons of guns. We've got Match Bingo, who are sponsoring us for the remainder of the season. Everybody, listen, if you want to get involved, a £5 deposit, which is the minimum, but it's a low rate now, isn't it? You get 10 quid absolutely free. You also get 5 cards for the price of 4. Make sure you check them out, everybody. Link in the description below if you want to start doing your fantasy bets on football and stuff. We have got another sponsor coming as well, which is an old sponsor, which I know you guys will really enjoy. And the e-commerce site, the absolutely fantastic, ever-present Shop GNO, everybody. We've got 2 shops listed on there now. Absolutely fantastic stuff. So yeah, make sure you do that. You can save money. You can make money over there. Cheaper rates than Amazon, eBay, and Vinted. Make sure you check that out, everybody. Links in the description below. We'll be doing gifts. We'll be doing rewards. With my link, you can get a 25 membership absolutely free. Make sure you do so. Why not, eh? Why not? Absolutely free with stuff coming as well. And remember, you have to be a member for us to be giving away these prizes. We gave away 4 Leeds United shirts. 4 Leeds United shirts for absolutely free, but you had to be a member on the site. And when I say member, you have to register. Okay, let's move on to the next rumor. Now, this will marinate a bit. Marinating on the mill again. Mika Godts. Now, if you're aware of your European football, you're also very aware of the presence of this man. I think in the 24-25 season, I think he's got 6 or 8 goal contributions in 44. He is one of the brightest talents, or one of, I believe anyway, when it comes to a potential upward trajectory side of things, one of the biggest in Europe right now. Now, Ajax are a pretty much hands-off approach. Now, he can operate off the left, he can operate centrally, he can operate off the right. You know, he's a very talented young boy. Now, I think that is his record in all competitions there as well when it comes to his goal involvements. Rumours today are suggesting that Leeds are in for Mika Godts. Now, he was one of my suggestions on the notepad yesterday. Yeah, we had him in here alongside 3 or 4 others that we were obviously talking about yesterday when it came to Zolis, when it came to Loriente and co. But I just didn't put it in because, as you guys would quite rightly say to me, it is completely out the realms of possibility, in my opinion. If this guy is to go from Ajax, Ajax would probably demand a club record fee. I would imagine. His contract's till 2029. Last time I searched it, contract's till 2029. They've got complete power over him. He's had a really good breakout season. I would call this his breakout season anyway. And there's been murmurings of Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Real Madrid. So I think what's happening now when it comes to the news sites, everybody, is I think what they're doing is they're going on FB Ref or they're going on similarities, similarity sites, Data MB, etc., and going, who are kind of similar players to Mika Godts? And I think they're putting them into some sort of database and trying to find any link whatsoever. And I don't think this was a top link of which I've found, but obviously you're getting a couple of the aggregators reporting it. But this is just it's out the realms of possibility, I think. So I know a lot of you guys will probably be saying to me, Connor, what about him today? You know, I've had a lot of people asking me about Zagrova. I've had a lot of people asking me about Delaney Bakwa. Mika Godts is probably the most unrealistic out of the three, to be honest with you. Ajax are going to demand a massive fee for him. Presumably, if Leeds were in negotiation with him, his agent would push him to some of the top clubs in Europe. Look, we've seen it before, haven't we? We've seen it before. Maybe Mika Godts wants to make a step to Leeds United before making a step to Real Madrid. Who knows? But what I would say about him is the development from the Eredivisie to the Premier League, especially at a developmental potential upward trajectory stage of his career, is going to be absolutely gargantuan. It's going to be tough for him, I think. I don't know if he's at that physical level yet. When you watch him play and you watch him glide and slalom through defenses, don't know if he's at that stage yet. But what I would say is it is just very unrealistic. I think a lot to improve on, as I've got down here. You know, made a couple of notes before we start. It's going to be a lot of money, inexperience. And I think when you look at inexperience as well, and you look at the reason Leeds United have been targeting 25 to 27-year-old profiles, it's because they need to hit the ground running. If they don't hit the ground running and Leeds are getting to a stage where we're 4, 5, 6 games in and we're going, well, we're still waiting for them to make any form of impact. You know, a lot of people in the comment section have been saying, well, Connor, you know, when you look at Sunderland, you know, when you look at Diarra, when you look at Siddiqui, when you look at Adingra, when you look at Talby, they've just brought in a young goalkeeper, I think it's from 21 from NEC in the Dutch league who looks very good as a shot stopper, but they're all kids. A lot of them are young. You know, a lot of them are young, and you're asking them to step into the best league in the world and hit the ground running immediately. And I think that's why Leeds have gone for a different style of profile. And we're going to get into that toward the back end of the video when it comes to Paixao and targets that we keep getting linked with, where I'm just a little bit like, I'm not sure they fit as much. And yeah, I think Mika Godts is one of those again, where it's a target of which he's probably going to be at Ajax for another couple of years. I'd suggest then there's going to be a move, and he's going to be one of the brightest sort of players, I would say. So, morning, Paul. How's it going, mate? Good to see you in here. Bring in Anthony Cassie and Luca Nets. Rune, there's no way they're going to. I mean, they are starters, mate. They are what's. I mean, so where's Luca Nets going to be made? That's what we've got to think about the realism, pal, when it comes to Anthony Cassie and Luca Nets. So these are starters in European sides, so there's no way they're going to come to Leeds United and just be bench options. And I understand. Look, I completely understand that these players are coming in and we are fitting. We're trying to get them in and to compete. You want to sell competition, of course you do. But at the same time, if there's a gap for a player to go in, if there's a plug-in gap for them to go to another club and they know they're going to get minutes and they know they're going to elevate their profile, they're not just going to come to Leeds United and potentially sit on the bench, are they? So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Surprise Farker hasn't been in for Ritsu Doen from Freiburg. Quality winger would know Tanaka. Yeah, I think he's gone. He's going to Frankfurt, isn't he? Doen. Just sent you the link to your con. I don't know what that is, mate. Could be something you left to let me know. But yes, 10 million value on Transfermarkt. I don't know what we're talking about here. Let Real Madrid sign him and then immediately loan him to us for the end of the season. Loft says, if we get to the end of next week with nothing happening, it'll be meltdown time again. Chris, this doesn't fit with what the 49ers have been going after Leeds' name being used to drum up interest. Dan says, keep with the Brazilian style. Luis Enrique or Kevin. Luis especially would be perfect. Yeah, once again, I don't. Realism-wise, mate, I just don't see that happening. I don't see either of those two happening. I'll link to FPL. Yeah, cheers, mate. I'll put that in afterwards. Marcelo Bielsa is here. Hi, mate. Sorry, mate, just joined. We talked about the Aroma lad yet, Connor. Aroma, or the Roma lad, not yet. Not yet, but Roma lad, yes, will be coming up. So when it comes to the profile of player, don't think that will happen. Think Mika Godts when he comes up in any conversation. If he's there with your pal and someone says to you, hey, you know, Jimmy said to you, what about Mika Godts? Say, listen, I've listened to the rumor mill this morning and there's no chance that's happening. But yeah, I think it's very, very unrealistic, everybody, for that to happen. Okay. Artem Dovbyk. Now, I was asked about this yesterday, and because we were firing through the rumors, I didn't actually clock the name. I didn't clock the name whatsoever. We're talking about rumors here, there, and everywhere. We're having a lot of DDD, and I didn't clock the name whatsoever when it came to Artem. So yes, this is an interesting one. Now, okay, so the news beat is saying that Leeds United are apparently looking at Artem Dovbyk. I don't know, once again, if this is a bit of a lazy link, but it's interesting. And you look at the other clubs that are interested there. West Ham, I mean, Fulkrug is a very similar profile to that of Dovbyk, but Dovbyk maybe has a little bit more guarantee when it comes to goals. Obviously, Fulkrug has struggled a little bit, but obviously he was very good, wasn't he, at Dortmund? Besiktas seem to be looking for a centre forward. Every centre forward that's been linked with Leeds is then linked to Besiktas as well. So he joined Roma last season for 35 million euros from Girona. Something to bear in mind here that he does have a sell-on clause of around about 15%. Something to bear in mind when we're talking about the availability of Dovbyk. Something to talk about when we're trying to potentially structure a deal as well. Similar to Mika Godts, his contract runs until 2024. Now, the pivot, and a lot of you guys will be saying to me, Connor, why on earth are Roma looking to sell? You know, they've got a player there who in 43 appearances last season has got 18 goal contributions. What on earth is going on? Well, they've just brought in Evan Ferguson, and I think he is seen as the starting centre forward right now. And Dovbyk was their top scorer last season. I think he was the 7th top scorer in Serie A as well. But you know, they see Evan Ferguson as the future. I don't know if they've got Ferguson on an obligation or if it's an option, but it's evident that, you know, especially with his preseason start so far, which has been pretty electric when it comes to Evan Ferguson, that potentially they see him as the long-term future when it comes to Roma. So he's 28 years of age, as we mentioned, Roma's top scorer. I think the attributes when you're looking at someone like Dovbyk is very obvious. Mobility-wise, not great. I don't think. Pace-wise, not ideal. In a transition, not ideal for me, which I think is where Leeds are going to be harnessing a lot of their play. And we're going to talk about Rodrigo Muniz in just a second and the comparison there. I think this guy potentially could be seen as an alternative. But when you were looking at him, you know, I think there's been a real good pivot from obviously La Liga to Serie A, and I think that is something that a lot of people don't do. So could he then pivot to the Premier League? That'd be really interesting to see. And you've got to give him a good sort of, you know, well done for being able to pivot between those two leagues, because sometimes it can be difficult. Different style of play, different speed of play as well between both leagues, different caliber in my opinion as well. So strong Serie A first season, a link with Leeds United. So what are my thoughts on this one? So I immediately, when I saw this news, I wanted to compare him to Rodrigo Muniz. I wanted to compare him to probably the only reliable striker that we've been linked to in terms of, you know, actually putting in, a formulated bid. So because of his deal running until 2029 when it comes to Dovbyk, and reports suggesting that he could be an alternative for Leeds United when it comes to Rodrigo Muniz, what do I get with him? Okay. Some may argue that in transition, he could be actually pretty decent. Hold up play, good in the air, physicality, all the things that we've been speaking about in the rumor mill so far this season, all of which is a good assets. I think my worry with him in the Premier League will be the pace, as I mentioned before, the acceleration in certain sequences, especially when Leeds United are trying to develop into some sort of counter attack, which I think will be how Leeds structure in terms of like a low block and then hitting teams on the counter attack with James Ramazani, Nonso, etc. Hopefully Rodrigo Muniz. Now, when you're looking at someone like Muniz as a comparison, something that really stands out to me when it comes to him and why I'm so hot on him is he's outperformed his XG by 6 goals. He's only had 951 minutes in the Premier League and scored 8 goals. That is extremely impressive. So when he's coming on, he's making an impact. And obviously, he was almost like a little bit of a mentor, and there's a senior when it comes to Raul Jimenez. But I think that he's going to be moving on very soon, hence why the price is what it is. But he's only got a year left on his deal as well. So Leeds might be able to structure that in a way of which we get the best value. But Fulham might think this is the last time that we're going to be able to get a decent value for Rodrigo Muniz. And Leeds are clearly targeting him because of that contract. And I think that's been a key thing that Leeds have been targeting throughout this window. Players who are in the last probably couple of years of the contract, which is smart. So how I would look at between both of those in particular is when it comes to Dovbyk, I think he's reliable, he's dependable, he's got a good hit record when it comes to goals. The link-up play's decent. And I guess you could look at someone like Chris Wood, couldn't you? Chris Wood's not the most mobile player. Chris Wood is surrounded by pace, by athleticism, by, and dynamism and hitting that byline and quality. When it comes to last season and Hudson Odoi and Morgan Gibbs-White and Anthony Elanga, Nico Williams and co, Olaina. So I think that's something to look at. And I think that's probably what people will be looking at. The ball can stick to him if he's got a good efficiency rate. I think the only thing is his shot conversion rate is around about 22%, which isn't great. So sort of like one goal every 4 or 5 shots. That's something to take into consideration when Leeds United need to be efficient in the Premier League. And especially then when you look at the comparative of Rodrigo Muniz, who's outperforming his XG when it comes to his Premier League appearances. That is the efficient player. Dovbyk for me is someone who is going to facilitate your style of play, but isn't that goal hammerer. And I know he's done unbelievable in Serie A this season when you look at those goals. And I think, when you look at all of his appearances in that transitional season, he's been excellent really when it comes to Roma. But there is also a reason Roma are moving him on, And you do look at that transition from Serie A to the Premier League, it is going to be huge, in terms of that difference. But how I would say the difference is, as I think Muniz has got a lot more game-changing moments about him and in his arsenal and his locker. I think Dovbyk fits a purpose. I do. How I would look at it overall, if I'm being brutally honest with you guys, if I'm looking at an Artem Dovbyk, I'm looking at him as a rotation option for Rodrigo Muniz. I'm looking at Rodrigo Muniz as that counter-attacking style player who's fast, can win free kicks, but he's obviously really mobile, 6'2". Can hold the ball up, is physical, is developing consistently, has a really good sell-on value as well. And when you look at Dovbyk's probably going to be around 40 million euros, 35, 40 million euros. That's apparently what Roma want, according to Roma Press. We're talking about 50 million quid. And that's the upper echelon of what Rodrigo Muniz is. There would be negotiation there. So it might actually be a closer value than we think. So it might actually be Dovbyk and Rodrigo Muniz. We're talking around about the 30 to 35 million pound mark for them both. So when you're looking at that, I would 100% be going for Rodrigo Muniz. So I think when you're kind of looking at players like, Zagrova, when you're looking at players like Zolis, when you're looking at players like Loriente in comparison to Paixao, when you're looking at players like Dovbyk in comparison to Muniz, I would say that these are definitely tier 2, some tier 3 to a tier 1 option that Leeds United have, in my personal opinion. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. So I think he serves a purpose, 100%. I think he'd be a decent addition. I do. And like I've said, I've just plucked out the air there, Chris Wood, and there's certain, the positives that having a striker in there who doesn't always have to be, doesn't have to be a completely efficient player. All ends up. But what I would say is Chris Wood this season, who has had an unbelievable season last season, is surrounded by better quality players than what Leeds United have in a relegation scrap next season. You guys know I'm an absolute lover of Elliot Anderson and his transitional play and his ball distribution, mid to long range, his box to box nature. And then you look at Morgan Gibbs-White just ahead of him as well. I think that the construction of Forest's squad really, really, really aids Chris Wood. And we all know as Leeds fans, he's always been a bit of a fox in the box as well. Bit of a predator when it comes to being able to finish his chances. So I think that works in that sense. I think Leeds United with Dovbyk would be taking a little bit of a risk, but maybe we're in that realm. Who knows when it comes to it? And we could quite rightly be. Tommy says, go get Trossard from Arsenal. Tommy, I will make you a mod, mate. Tommy, hold on a sec. Tommy, you are a mod, pal. Just made you a mod. I know you sent me an email yesterday, mate. I've managed to do it at long last. Muniz is suited to the Prem. He's younger and has a higher ceiling. We don't know if he would be and is much older. Presumably we're talking about Dovbyk there as well. Chris says the links in the last 48 hours for forwards are all nonsense. Their agents trying to flog their unwanted players, taking advantage of Paixao news. No surprise, they're around about 30 million quid. I agree with you, mate. I think we're in a scenario now, especially with the couple of links that we've had this morning, where there is a lot of fabrication here and there's a lot of looking at FP refs and data MB and probably FootMob and going, how many characteristics fit this? Could we maybe just put out a rumor, because you don't have to. Let's be honest, when it comes to some of these sites, you have to prove anything. You just have to go out there and say Leeds are interested in blah blah blah, and that's kind of where we go through the rumor mill and we try siphon out rumors, and we're looking at Mika Godts and we're thinking it's just ridiculous. There's no chance that's going to happen. But then you look at James Justin and you think that's probably a 9 out of 10 potentially could happen. So it's all about just evaluating that, having a little bit of a conversation. Hopefully through these rumor mills, everybody, you go away, you have a little bit more of an understanding of the player, of which hopefully you've learned on here. And then you go away and make your own assumption. That's what it's all about. Lucha says, we didn't sign Paixao. We have to go big for a striker or a versatile left-wing striker. People saying Trossard, not a chance we get him, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think we will be getting him whatsoever, mate. Skip says, I like Anderson too, but I've stacked now, and I think he's going to be a great season. Yeah, different players, mate. Different players. Lee says, is there a reason we are not looking into the loan market? I haven't heard the likes of Grealish from City been evaluated at all. Yeah, I think Grealish would be, look, we'd all be absolutely unequivocally on cloud nine if Grealish signed. I think he'd fit in at Leeds United. Very much like I think Mitrovic would fit in at Leeds United. That sort of personality that you need in and around the Leeds United dressing room. I think that would be perfect. You're going to have to pay a lot of money, though. Manchester City, apparently, according to sources very close to them, want to get his wages off the book as well, even if they are to go for a bit of a loan somewhere else. So if they are to do that, Leeds might be paying 30-40% of his wages, which is going to be a lot of money for Leeds. He'd be one of the top earners, even if we're paying 30-40% of his wages. If we're paying even more than that, he's going to, you don't want to get to a stage where you kind of blow in the budget. But Grealish is a needle mover, of course, for Leeds United. And if we're playing him on the left, is a little bit of a maverick. But I think Grealish's availability, guys, I will be honest with you guys. At this moment in time, his profile is bigger than Leeds United. It just is, and that's hard to take, but his profile is bigger than Leeds United. Rob says, morning, Connor. Hope you're doing great. Get Dovbyk and his former Ukrainian Girona partner in crime, Sigankov. Yes, mate. He's been 20 million quid from Girona, isn't he? I've seen that he's been rumoured. Get those likes in for Conlad. Only have 348 likes on the video. Guys, come on. We've got 1,300 of you in the building. How many likes have we got on the video? Let's rack them up. We've got 365. Come on, let's get them up if we can do. Really appreciate that, everybody. All just helps. Okay. Rich says, love the work, buddy. I'm sure we'll find a way to look and have the quality we need. Trust the process. I completely agree with you, mate. Cliver, he's 25. And a load of J last season, plus covers 10 at left wing and right wing, plus international. Tim, I don't think we're going to be getting him off Bournemouth, to be honest. Knox has mentioned as well. Who have you mentioned, Knox? I've just seen it there, mate. Chiesa, it'd just be the injuries, mate. It'd be the injuries with Chiesa. I think he'd be on a lot of money as well. I do think we've got to have a quick look at that. Obviously, that PSR structure as well when it comes to Leeds. Stack or Xhaka, who's better? I'm taking Stack all day, mate. I'm taking Stack all day with that. So I guess that's a positive. But I told you guys at the very beginning that I wanted to talk a little bit about the wing options. I wanted to talk about Paixao. I wanted to talk about. I mean, I tell you what. Let's get some of them up, shall we? We'll talk. We've got one loaded here, but we will talk about. So I've seen a lot of you guys mention him. See if we can find him. I don't think we're going to find him, so we'll just go with Luca Bacchio. Okay, that's what we'll do. So Leeds are apparently interested in this guy, Luca Bacchio. We mentioned it yesterday as a wide option. So Igor Paixao, right? And we'll try. Do I need to get to move myself back here just a little bit? I feel like I'm right in the camera zone. Let's have just a quick fiddle around with stuff here. There we go. We'll deal with that. So Luca Bacchio, this was someone who was mentioned yesterday, apparently on a certain forum. He's been blurted around. Wouldn't mind that whatsoever. Not watched him this season, have to be honest with you guys. Done a bit of research on him. I know he can play across the front line, bit of a hold-up man. But I have to be honest, we mentioned several rumours yesterday when it comes to Loriente, when it comes to Zolis, when it comes to a few others as well. I'm not kind of at the phase right now or in the realm of being that excited by the left wing options. Honestly, the left wing options right now are not exciting me. Some of the rumors as well. I made up a couple yesterday when it comes to potential options, but the ones that I've seen, Delane Bakwa, it's decent, it's okay. Reminds me a little bit of Fatawu, to be honest with you, but it's all right. It's decent. Is it going to get me off the edge of my seat? I'm not 100% sure. I think the difference with Paixão and some of these targets is naturally they're just a lower tier. Paixão is explosive. He's a constant space threat on and off the ball. He's a constant problem for defenses and midfields. Obviously, if sides are in a low block, I think what the beauty about him in terms of a profile is his clarity at high speed. When he's on the ball, dribbling, it's the decision making at high speed. And it can be in the box, it can be outside the box, it can be his instinctive finishing, it can be his, as I've just mentioned, his explosiveness with his left foot, right foot. Looks even a threat aerially. And you look at his height, just across the pitch, he's an explosive footballer who is a constant threat, a constant problem to the back line. And I think when you are threatening like that, when you are ruthless like that, and it's not flashes, it's a consistent threat. It's repeatable, constant danger. I think when you look at the ones that we've been linked to, maybe it's more flashes and the goals that they've scored, the assists that they've had. When you look at maybe Delaney Backwell, when you look at Zagrava, when you look at all these players, and when you look at, even when you look at Zolis, who is not obviously a rumor, it's someone who I've suggested, Loriente, these are players of which show real moments, of course, real moments and real flashes. And, the goals and the assists will say, you'll say, Connor, what about that? But it's sometimes floating out of games. It's sometimes the inconsistency. And I can even say that with Zolis. I can even say that with Loriente. It's just drifting out of games a little bit at points and not being that consistent threat. As I've said, when it comes to Paixão, it is the constant threat, space on and off the ball. And I think that's maybe where Leeds have looked at a profile and they've looked at a player and they've gone, he is outstanding. And it's not to touch on him, but it's to touch on maybe people. And I can see you all throwing names in the chat, and that's what the room mill's all about. But it's maybe to just put like that cap on it, and maybe the realism chat of, I'm not 100% sure Leeds will go down the route of a left winger again, and I wouldn't get too upset about that. I think on the left hand side we're in a really good spot. I think Ramazani and I think Nonso facilitate that really nicely. When you do look at the depth of the front line, especially if you are marketing a number 10 in there and you've still got Aronson in there and you put Nonso in there as almost reserved, that is a slight problem. And when you look at the depth of the front line and Igor Paixão in there and a Rodrigo Muniz definitely helps proceedings. But I'm just not 100% sure I want to go slap 30, 40 million pound down for players who have flashes, good dribblers, good when it comes to relative consistency. But I think all of the links so far, there's too much inconsistency in their game. There's flashes. And I think with Paixão, there is just, as I said, it's just that constant threat, that constant problem, that constant efficiency when it comes to production. So that's the difference. I wonder if Leeds are going to go for a left winger anymore. I wonder if we're maybe going to focus on potentially a 10. I don't think we will play a 10 next season. I've seen news sites saying this morning Leeds are going to focus on a 10. I don't know where they're getting this from. I don't know how, when you look at pre-season and the structure of the club, the structure of the squad, when you're looking at us being in sort of a low block at points and the style of play and the formation we're playing when it's come to 4-3-3 or just a 3 midfield in general, when it's the 4-2-3-1 without a number 10. I know Aronson's not been there, but even when he has been able to feature, he's not been the hallmark of the formation setup. I think we're all very much aware that Longstaff's not coming to sit on the bench. Stack's not coming to sit on the bench. So I think it's either Tanaka or Ampadu who starts. We mentioned that last night. If that is the case, I can't see Leeds playing a number 10. So I'm kind of looking at it now and wondering, do Leeds just go all out for a centre forward, and then potentially just bolster up that right hand side, which I thought we were going to do at the start. The rumours all around the start of the window from the Athletic, from the YP, were a right winger. Paixão seemed to come out of nowhere as a left sided player, but it feels like Paixão for me was the one hit and done. So I don't think, could be wrong, but I think that the rumours when it comes to Jota Silva, and obviously he plays on the right hand side, but he can play on the left. But when it comes to Sotil yesterday at Fiorentina, I think it's lazy. I don't. How can you go from Paixão to Sotil, who's barely played at AC Milan last season, has been a rotation option, and they've not activated an obligation to take him up as a permanent signing. With the struggles that AC have been going through when it comes to wide options last season. they've not taken that option. So I just think it's at this moment in time, Lukabakio is probably out of them all. Maybe the name of the rumors anyway, where I'm looking at and going, yeah, okay, yeah, I'd take it. But when it comes to the wide options, I think maybe Leeds are potentially at a stage right now where we need to be looking at forwards and maybe right-sided options. We spoke very early on in the window about Tim Weah. That was apparently a heavy rumor. And I'm not saying that would be a viable one to go down, but I'm just not 100% sure that when you're kind of looking at the profile of, if you're looking at a player, right? And this is why, like, it was really unequivocally important that we just spoke about Dovbyk, right? Dovbyk is a centre forward, Artem Dovbyk, who brings you into play, hold up, aerially good, physically good, but he's a completely different profile overall to Rodrigo Muniz. He's completely different. Rodrigo Muniz aids transition. He's rapid. His XG is +6 last season, whereas you've got Artem, who's got a 22% shot conversion rate. They're completely different profiles. They're dangerous in different ways. But when you are looking at Paixao in comparison to these other wingers, they're threatening in different ways, but not as efficient. And they attack the box in a different way. They're explosive, nowhere near in the same way as Paixao across different areas when it comes to the right, inbox movement, attacking the box, as I've just mentioned. It's completely different styles of players. You can literally go away and just watch them even on YouTube. They're completely different. So for Leeds to take the focus away from that and to go to a completely different style, profile, etc., is just, I don't think that would happen. I hope that wouldn't happen, because if that did happen, that would show maybe not a panic in recruitment, but a movement away from what they were thinking in terms of that type of player helping Leeds United. So that's kind of where I'm at anyway with it. Let's have a look at what you guys are saying in the chat. Let's have a look. God, you guys are flying in here. Paixão alternatives. Luis Enrique from Zenit in Brazil squad ahead of Paixão, or Kevin from Shakhtar. Keep the Samba dream alive. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people talking about the Brazilian samba stuff, and yeah, I guess they're a little bit more exciting, just very different. Focus our cash on the spine loan market for wingers to revitalize their career. Get Justin and Tanganga for fullback cover, both of them. Interesting. Schick should be our out and out stat striker. There's no way we're getting him, mate. Absolutely no way. But yeah, not a bad option, I wouldn't say. Luka Bacchio is injury prone, has disciplinary issues. The injury prone stuff with Luka Bacchio is a problem. Yeah. Rowe is a good magician. Okay. Abraham is injured, unfortunately. Yeah, the Abraham stuff gets me confused with people. Everybody, I'll be brutally honest with you. Let's get Abraham up. I've seen him a couple of times in the chat, but from my reckoning, he got, was it 3 goals last season in Serie A, and he's been bumbled around. I think he's at Besiktas now, isn't he? But and his profile, is it going to come up? Is it going to go up? I think it is. In fact, no, it's not going to come up. But let's have a look at his total last year. 6 goals, 5 assists. 6 goals, 5 assists when it comes to Abraham. But yeah, it's just, he's not been efficient, guys, for the last 3 years. I totaled up his amount of numbers, and he's been nowhere near good enough. So yeah, not for me whatsoever. I think we're kind of looking at Tammy Abraham from when he was at Aston Villa instead of right now. Eden Zagrova from Lille. Again, a few disciplinary problems at Lille, injury problems in the second half of the season. I think he's played 12 times this season. Different again, Mike. Very, very different to what we'd be looking at. Once again, loves a little bit of a nutmeg, doesn't he? Loves a little bit of a dribble from the halfway line, but once again, just doesn't attack the spaces in the same way as Paixão. Is a very different player. Has been compared to Eden Hazard, hasn't he, in his early form career? But there's been a few inconsistencies again, and it's flashes again with Zagrova recently. So do you go out there and spend 25 million quid on him? I'm not sure you do. Once again, it seems to be that like FB ref search. Who is Zagrova? Is he good enough? Might be, but once again, it's a big risk. It's a big risk. So I'm not sure I'll be going in for that one either, to be honest with you. And especially if you try, Leeds go on about personalities all the time, and if you just research on what's been going on with Zagrova and Lille in the past year, it's not been good. It's not been good whatsoever. So yeah, Nicholas says, morning, Connor, smash a like for the best channel around. Thank you, buddy. Really appreciate that. I know this isn't ideal, but Yilmaz from, yeah, them potentially. Who knows? Honorat, yeah, Honorat. Look, we're interested in him on the right hand side from the beginning of the window, weren't we? He looked really decent, Honorat. So, yeah, okay, right, guys. I'm not going to keep you for any longer. I don't want to just spout a load of rubbish. You might think I spout a load of rubbish anyway, but we will slap this out as a podcast if you guys enjoy listening on your Spotify and iTunes. May not be here tomorrow, but we'll try put out a short video, guys. At some stage, we will try our best. I am just doing a Betfred thing tomorrow, so I'm not sure I'll be able to come on at 10 o'clock. I am duty bound. So thank you so much for tuning in this morning. Let us know what you think about the DDD. Do you agree? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let us know in the comment section below. It's been an absolute pleasure, everybody. Check out the sponsors. Make sure you like the video, and I'll see you on the other side. Cheers.